Hi guys, Milan Milisavljevic here. This is another video in my weekly series of posts for the American Viola Society. And this week I wanted to talk about what it's like to play in the Met Orchestra, in the Metropolitan Opera Orchestra, where I am principal viola. I get a lot of questions about this, and some of the questions are very interestingly seem to repeat. So just wanted to address some of them and answer the questions I've been getting, and just tell you about it. So I've been playing at the Met for over 10 years, for about 12 years, and I became principal viola about 8 months ago when we had an audition, and the former principal viola retired about a year before that. What is playing in the Metropolitan Opera Orchestra like? I think every orchestra is different from what I can tell in terms of enthusiasm or vibe or energy. I was a member of the Royal Concertgebouw Orchestra in Amsterdam before joining the Met, and these orchestras are definitely different. But they're both happy, great places to work. There are orchestras that are, in all honesty, maybe not happy or not great places to work, and sometimes this depends on what the orchestra's idea of its mission is. Sort of like, why are we here? What are we doing? And I think this is an important question to consider. I think some orchestras have an easier time answering this question than others. Like, what is our role in safeguarding a certain kind of tradition or sound, or our role in the community? In both orchestras where I worked are blessed in this regard. The Concertgebouw has a very clear idea about its sound. This hall that it's been in for well over 100 years has shaped its perception, its sound, its identity. The Met also, I find, knows very clearly what it is, the Met Orchestra. We're there to support singers. We're there to understand different operatic styles, to know the music intimately. And we're there to play in a way that supports singers, that supports the voice with awareness and sensitivity. More than anything, we listen. We listen to the stage. We listen to what's going on up there, and we play in a way that supports that. I would say constant listening and adjusting is probably the hallmark of our style, the biggest one by far. This is rare, I can tell you, from playing in other groups, other than the two that I've worked in long term. Good listening is a difficult skill to acquire, and one that is totally separate from good playing. In fact, I'm not really sure that it's something you can really learn or practice. It's something you need to find internally in your brain, something that you learn how to do better. You play, literally, it's kind of simple. You play while having ears that are this big, and you just are really absorbing everything around you. So playing in the Met Orchestra is great. I'm blessed that it's a really great group of people. We get along really well. We love our jobs. In the Met, you have to get along. We spend a lot of time together, and you simply have to make it work. There is no other way but to find the best, find something that you love in people you work with, and just go in there and enthusiastically grab our music and play it to its fullest with a lot of passion, which also I love about a Met Orchestra. I find that we play with a lot of passion and a lot of sensitivity all the time. Another question I get is, what is it like to play so much opera every day? Well, it's not easy, okay? The first couple of years I was in the Met as assistant principal, I mean, it was just crazy. I didn't know where I was. It was really hard. It's not, we don't play every night. Nobody plays every evening. We have 7 performances a week. It's extremely rare that anybody will play all 7. Perhaps some brass players. String players, this never happens. We play 4 times a week, 4 performances a week, and they vary each week based on what the repertory is. And we often have rehearsals, and nearly every morning. There are weeks where we have rehearsal every morning. There are weeks when we don't have any rehearsals. It varies. It varies on where in the season we are. People ask me, how do you learn all this? I mean, how much music is there to learn per season? And I'll tell them something like, I have to learn 1,500 pages, or I'm playing 1,500 pages a year. It's crazy. If you look at it that way, this is utterly overwhelming. I have to, of course, get to know the operas. I need to listen to them, look at the score. I need to have, as a principal player, a good idea of what other string sections are doing. It's a lot of work. But if you think of it that way, it's overwhelming. I just try to, I just start doing it and just put a certain amount of time into it every day in addition to practicing, and you just develop this routine where you're doing this constantly, and it just gets done. Of course, with time, I've been there for years. At this point, I know the rep, and you'll be surprised at how helpful muscle memory is. You just kind of, your body remembers. Your body remembers a lot of things, and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the fact that routine and playing operas once every couple of seasons, it's of course tremendously helpful. Another question I get is what auditions are like at the Met. And I'm very proud of the way that we do auditions. I think we have a fantastic system in place that's fairly unique. I believe we're the only orchestra that consistently listens to all candidates only behind the screen. The only exception we have are concertmasters. But for everyone else, we always listen to everyone strictly behind the screen, and the identity of any of the auditionees, including the winner, are not revealed until after the votes have been tabulated. Not only that, we are actually instructed to keep our opinions, our thoughts about what we're hearing while listening, with only a pen and paper in front of us, to an absolute minimum. So you're not supposed to express any feelings you might have, whether you want to stretch or yawn, or maybe you're highly enthusiastic about what you're hearing. You're instructed to keep this to yourself. The idea is that you don't affect others around you. I sometimes hear opinions how this is unnecessary. Well, wouldn't it be helpful to see what someone looks like? Do you really want to hire somebody who moves all crazy and stuff? It sounds nice on paper. I see these people's point, and I respect it, but I feel that ultimately we all have biases. You might not want to hire a player that seems really young, for a principal job. Or, maybe it's somebody that you know. And sometimes somebody who you don't know seems like a clean slate where you can assume that this person might be more adequate than someone who you know, and perhaps you already have some biases against them. So all in all, when this is taken into account, I find that a screen is the best way. You listen, you hear, you feel something. If you like what they're doing, you just vote for it, and I think any sort of interference from other people is kept to a minimum. And I see this as a huge plus. So all our auditions are behind the screen. We just enter our votes. There is no writing. There is no commenting. Unless it's something that you do for yourself, that's one thing. Then the votes are calculated by the personnel manager, and then the results are announced. And then we're told who the person is. So that's our audition system. Another question I get is, do you have 2 orchestras? Don't you have 2 orchestras? Somehow this seems to be among musicians in New York, and those in the know. I get this question a lot. No, the short answer is we do not have two orchestras. We have a certain pool of people, obviously. We have regular members, like let's say there's 10 people in the viola section. But we have pool players, we have associates, substitute players. It's a somewhat unique situation because it's an opera house. Of course, every orchestra has substitutes, but we have several layers of non-regular members who play for us. So there's a substantial number of people that come in and play, and obviously you have to have this if you have 7 performances a week, and yet string players are only playing 4 times a week. There's a complex system going on all the time, run by management, to make sure that everyone's playing and what nights they're playing on, and it's the right people. When the music director is there, all the principals are going to be there, all the regular members are going to be there. For some other performances, you will have fewer of the regular members, fewer principals. I mean, that's really the case in all opera houses, in all symphony orchestras. So basically, yeah, that's how that works. There is no 2 orchestras. There's just a certain number of people from which to make sure that all 7 performances a week run smoothly. And the last question is, people ask me, how what is it like to join the Met Orchestra? I mean, how hard or how easy is it? It's like anything in the music world. For what is the largest performing arts organization in the world, and one of the most prestigious in North America and worldwide, you have to play your instrument really well. That's, of course, very important if you want to do a good job in an audition. But I would say the most important thing for anybody who would ever aspire to join us is you have to play very expressively. I mean, we do this all the time. If you want to play opera, I mean, opera is such an expressive, over-the-top sort of art form. And, we go through a lot of music. A lot of it cannot even be rehearsed in some tremendous amount of detail, because in a way there isn't enough time, especially for operas that are firmly entrenched in the repertoire and we play them every season or 2. So you need to kind of know and get a lot without being told any of it. We can't teach people how to listen. It's a skill that you either have or don't have, and you can have some time to, of course, develop it once you join the orchestra, but it's something that needs to happen reasonably quickly. You need to play with a lot of passion, you need to play with a lot of understanding for the music, a lot of feeling for it. We play everything from, Baroque opera to contemporary stuff, Tonico Muly. We play Berg, Schoenberg, we play Donizetti, Verdi, Rossini, Wagner. I mean, these things are, each of these composers has different sonorities they're looking for. You have to be aware of all of this. It's not enough to just play your instrument well, but when you audition for us, we're hoping to hear that there's an awareness of all of this already. And also that you have something to say, because that's what we aspire to do every night. And I love that about the Met Orchestra. I feel that we're there in the pit. We are always wanting to make music. There is no routine. And I love that about my job. There is always this sense that we want to express something, and we really want to contribute to the singers who are up there, who we respect and love, to our audience. I mean, those moments when the auditorium just goes crazy, when there's a wonderful aria, or just a great performance being given, when the applause is like a monsoon. I cannot tell you how grateful I feel to be there, and it's just a very, very exciting moment for all of us. So, thank you. This is about these are the, I guess, 4 or 5 questions that I get asked quite often that I wanted to answer this week. Please leave your comments below, and thank you for watching my video, and I will talk to you again next week. Thank you so much.